Hello and welcome back to the Arduino Python series. This is the tutorial number 15. In the last video, we used a keyboard to control a gear motor forward, backward, and stop using an L293D IC and an external 12-volt supply. That was a great step, but we were stuck with a fixed speed like 50% all the time. Today we are adding interactive speed control. Now you can press like A to decrease the motor speed and D to increase it, all while the motor is running. So when you're just holding the W, for example, you can at the same time you can use A and D to decrease and increase the speed, or exactly like the S. So while you're just pressing the S down, when you're holding S down, you can just press A or D to decrease and increase the speed. Okay, so this makes our motor control much more flexible and realistic, just like controlling a robot or a vehicle with a variable throttle. By the end of this video, you will know how to handle multiple keyboard inputs, adjust a variable in real time, and keep your motor control smooth and responsive. The hardware is exactly the same as tutorial number 14. Okay, so if you need a refresher for the hardware and also for the wiring, check the wiring diagram from tutorial number 14. It's exactly the same with no difference. Okay, now let's jump into our Visual Studio Code and start coding. Just let me explain to you something very quickly. The only reason that every time I just start the coding from the beginning, it's I want you to review everything, because I know the only way that you can just, learn how to code, it's just to review and practice more and more. The more you review and the more you practice, the sooner you will just learn how to code. So that's why, because I can just copy and paste the previous codes and just change a little bit things here and then run it for you and everything will be fine. But I do everything from beginning because I want you to review the things that you've already learned and just teach you some new stuff. Okay, so that's why. But if you think that you get bored and you already know all these things, you can just skip the first parts and just go to the parts that you think that you need it. Okay, so it's enough. Let's just go and start coding. Okay, the first step, I'm gonna just create a new file. I'm gonna call it, for example, motor keyboard keyboard.py. Okay, the first step, I'm gonna import my necessary libraries. I'm gonna say from PyFirmata to import Arduino and util, and I'm gonna say import time, and I'm gonna say import keyboard. Now I wanna create the Arduino connection and iterator. I'm gonna say port equal to CAM9. You just have to change it, guys. You already know. Board equal to, I'm gonna just use our Arduino library. Arduino, which port I'm using port CAM9, this variable. Now the iterator equal to util that iterator. Where I'm using it on my Arduino board, and now I'm gonna say iterator that start open and close parentheses, and I'm gonna add time that sleep 0.1. Okay, so we set the correct serial port, create the board object, start the iterator for Firmata communication, and give it a moment to settle. The iterator is essential for stable PWM output. Now let's do the pin mapping. I'm gonna say in 1, exactly like previous one, and in 2, pin number 9, and the PWM pin motor P PWM. I'm going to say board dot get pin. I'm going to say D10P. Okay. So we defined the 2 direction pins and the PWM pin for speed control. Now let's state our memories. I'm going to say last direction equal to none and last speed equal to -1. So these variables help us avoid printing the same motor command repeatedly. We will only print when something actually changes. Okay, now it's time for motor control function. I'm going to say def set motor to argument speed and direction. Okay, I'm gonna, because I want to use these variables, I'm gonna use global. I'm gonna say last direction and last speed. Okay, now let's avoid flooding the console for tiny changes. I'm gonna say if direction equal last direction, and if absolute speed minus last speed. Okay, these two smaller than 0.02. Okay, so what's gonna happen? Just return. So don't do anything. But if it's nothing, if something really changed, now let's update these two variables. I'm gonna say last direction equal to the new direction, and the last speed equal to the new speed. Now let's define the direction pins. Okay, I'm going to say if direction equal 4. Okay, so I'm going to say board dot digital. Now I have to say in 1 dot write 1, and now I'm going to just simply copy and paste this line here, but now I set it to 0 and set this one to in 2. Okay, so now for the rest I'm gonna just copy and paste this statement. I'm gonna say just go, yes, I'm gonna say if direction equal, instead of if, I'm gonna say elif direction equal to backward. Okay, now vice versa, I'm gonna say put this one 0 and put this one 1, and just one more time I'm gonna just copy and paste these two lines, and instead of elif, because this is the last one, I'm gonna say else, because it's the stop position, put both to 0, and also for the more safety I'm gonna put the speed also to 0. Now let's do the PWM speed control. How we can do that? I can say motor PWM dot write. Okay, now I'm gonna say speed, speed, yeah. Okay, and let's print the messages on our console. Print f string motor direction equal to it, the direction, and I'm gonna use a separator, and I'm gonna say motor speed. Okay, now I'm gonna say speed, and I want to show it. I wanted to show the two number after decimal. So this function is nearly identical to before. Notice the tiny change threshold is now 0.0. I mean 2%. This is the first difference. Okay, instead of 3%, the other program in the lesson number 14 we said 0.03. Just personal preferences. I just wanted to show you that it's completely up to you. The other time I said, Now this time I made it more sensitive, but that time I say 0.03. It prevents the console spam when speed changes by a very small amount. Okay. Now let's just okay, close this function. We finished creating the function. Yeah. Now let's go to the next line. Okay. And now let's print a clear menu so the user know all the controls. Because now here we add two new keys, A and D, for speed adjustments. So I'm gonna say print interactive motor control. Okay. So interactive motor control. Sorry, I just made a mistake here. 2T. Okay. Now the next message, I'm gonna say print W. I'm gonna say W like forward. I'm gonna use a separator like S to backward, another separator, and Q for stop, and one more separator, and I'm gonna say E for exit. Yeah. And okay, one more message for a decrease and increase of speed. I'm gonna say print I'm gonna say A. Let's say A for decrease of the speed. I'm gonna say decrease speed and a separator, and I'm gonna say D, increase speed. Okay. And let's show the range of the speed, because the speed is differ from 0.0 to 1.0. So we want to see our speed. I'm gonna say print I'm gonna say, for example, like speed range like 0.0 to 1.0. okay, this is it. Let's just like the other program, like the previous lesson, let's start with a default speed. I mean, when you press a run button, for example, let's say our motor starts spinning like again, like the previous lesson, at 50%. How we can do that? I can say here I'm gonna default just current speed, define a new variable, and I'm gonna call it current speed, and I'm gonna give it 0.5. So we start with a default speed of 50%. This variable will be modified by these two keys that we defined here, A and D. So we're gonna just tell the program to just decrease or increase the speed by these two keys. Okay. So now it's time to create our loop. Again, as usual, we're gonna start by try loop. So we enter the main loop inside a try block. Okay, because we want to handle the clean exit later, that's why. Okay, so I'm gonna say try, and while true is true. Okay, now I'm gonna say if keyboard dot is pressed. Okay, so if the key that the operator press will be W, so what should happen? This set motor, so current speed, and because our function has two arguments, so now we have to pass it to give it these two arguments, sorry. So we want to start at the beginning with this 0.5 speed, or the 50%. So at the beginning, so I'm going to say set the motor current speed and forward direction. Okay, and like the other time that sleep, we're gonna just give it a small delay, 0.05. Okay, now we can just copy and paste these lines exactly here, but with this different, that instead of using if, we will use elif here. Elif keyboard is press is like S. This time if the key is S. Now change the direction also to the backward. Okay, and one more time we're gonna say elif keyboard press is Q. Okay, Q. Set the okay. Now we're gonna just stop the motor, and so set the speed to 0 and stop and time that. Okay, so here we check for the direction keys by using this keyboard dot is press, built-in function. This function returns true if the specified key is currently held down. Okay, but this is very important, guys. These are separate if statements, okay, for direction, but they are chained with elif. Okay, they are chained with elif. That means if multiple direction keys are pressed, only the first one in the chain, I mean W, then S, then Q, will be acted upon. That's fine, because you wouldn't normally press W and S together. So, because definitely it's not possible. And if you pay attention, if you see after each command, we just we add a small delay, time that sleep, 0.05, okay, to prevent the loop from running too fast and consuming the CPU, 100% of your CPU. It also gives a tiny debounce. Okay, so far it was just like the previous lesson, but from now on, we want to just write something new. Okay, we want to tell the program that if we press A, please decrease the speed while we holding W or S, doesn't matter which one. And if we just press D, so increase the speed. Okay, let's see how we can just adjust the speed. Again, I'm gonna say if keyboard dot is pressed. Okay, so which key was for decrease? It was A. Okay, so if this one press, then current speed minus equal to 0.05. okay, so when it means when A is pressed, we decrease current speed by 0.05 or 5%. okay, we then clamp it to a minimum of 0 using a simple if statement. Okay, now let me tell you how. Let me show you. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Now I'm gonna say if current speed smaller than 0, then what's gonna happen? So current speed equal to 0, right? Okay, so here we just created the first key, I mean the E, for decreasing the speed. Okay, so now there's only one thing left. We want to see how much the speed will differ. We want to see it in the console. So we're gonna use a print message. I can say print like but don't forget to use the F string. I can say speed decreased, decreased. Okay, for how much? Current speed, and I want to see it, the 2.2f, 2 number after decimal point. And again, just add a small delay here, time dot sleep 0.1. okay, so as you can see here, here I said when A is pressed, so we decrease the current speed by how much? By 0.05 or 5%. We then clamp it in this here. We then clamp it to a minimum of 0 using a simple if statement here. By this if statement, we just clamped it, to a minimum of 0. Similarly for D, we're gonna do the same thing. We increase by 0.05 and clamp it to a maximum of 1. Then we print the new speed. Just be very careful, guys, and pay attention here. This is the new part. This is the new part. So here we're going to check for A and D keys. Okay, note that this is this is the separate if key. Okay, this is very important. So I don't use elif. I use if. I use if block, not an elif of the previous block. Okay, so that means you can adjust the speed while a direction key is held down. The motor will keep running with the new speed. Okay, so for example, when you're just holding down the W and at the same time you press A or D, the speed will change and the motor will run with the new speed. Okay, and I use this 0.1 delay here so that holding down A or D doesn't ramp the speed up or down too quickly. Okay, it's just it's do it with a tiny and slightly just smooth speed change. Okay, so you can adjust this value to your liking. So this is for the A, and now let me just define the D key also, the D for increasing. So how we can do that? So here I said if, now I'm gonna use elif. Okay, because it's still here in this block. So I'm gonna say elif keyboard dot is pressed. So if the key is D, okay, so what gonna happen? So the current speed plus equal 0.05. okay, and I'm gonna say again, I'm gonna clamp it in another if statement. I'm gonna say if current speed greater than 1, then what gonna happen? Current speed equal to 1. okay, and at the end, let's just print another message. I'm gonna say print use f string. Okay, I'm gonna say speed increased for how much? For current speed, and again I'm gonna use column dot to f to show two numbers after decimal point, and I'm gonna use just time dot sleep 0.1. okay, so this was the whole new part of this program. Okay, now only we have to check for the E key, for the exit. Okay, so how we can do that? I can say if keyboard dot is pressed. Okay, if the key will be E, then what gonna happen? Just print like exiting and just break the loop. Okay, So here we check for E separately. If press, we break out of the loop. Okay, so this is the while loop. Now it's time to see the except and finally block. Now I'm gonna say except keyboard interrupt. So what's gonna happen if they press this? Just pass it. Pass it to what? Pass it to finally block. I'm gonna say finally. Again, I'm gonna just set the motor to 0 and stop direction, and I'm gonna just exit from the program safely, and at the end let's just print a message for the users. Okay, let's say for example like program stopped safely. Okay, so here the except catches control C, a manual interrupt, and does nothing. We let the finally block, this block, handle cleanup. In finally we stop the motor here, 0 and stop. Close the Arduino connection and print a goodbye message. This guarantees that the motor is stopped even if you exit via E or Control C. Okay guys, now let's run the program and see the result. Okay, I press run button. Okay, see, W is Q and E, exactly like the previous lesson, but this time we have A and D to increase and decrease the speed. Now I'm gonna start with W. Okay, it's good. Okay, just be careful guys. In order to just change the speed to decrease or increase, you have to hold down the key W or S, doesn't matter which one. Now I'm gonna decrease it first. Okay, see? Yes, that's great. See guys, it works perfectly. The speed is decreasing. Yeah, and now if I decrease it more, now it's at 10. And now if I decrease it more, it will stop. Yes, now let me increase it. Yes, let me just increase it to the full. Yeah, see guys, the speed increased to, now it's 1. Now let me increase it again. Okay, let's just first stop. Now let's try the backward direction. Okay, decrease. Yes, see guys, everything works perfectly. Now let me increase it. Yes, see guys, now it's at 1. Now check the E. Okay, that's great guys. So our program and everything works perfectly. Hope you enjoyed and you liked this lesson. If you like it, or if you have any question, or if you have any doubt, please let me know in the comments, and see you in the next lesson.